Hey guys, L-Dog here, bringing you another video commentary. This is set 1 of Bisu versus Flash at the 2009 Korean WCG Championship. That's a mouthful. I've already commentated on set 2 and set 3. Like I mentioned in both of those videos, I'm actually working backwards through the set because I wasn't planning on doing all 3 games when I first started. So there's Bisu on the left, Flash on the right. Flash, of course, is the gum chewer. And one of the things, a couple things. First one is, sorry it took so long to get to this game. I don't know if anyone's even going to bother watching this at this point, but I was on vacation, so I didn't have a chance to comment on this. But before I left, I actually did comment on it, and I just wasn't happy with the result. There were some talking errors and stuff in it, so I wanted to do it again. The only downside to that is obviously I know sort of what happens, but it's been a couple weeks since I've seen it, so I'm going to comment on it again, hopefully get a little bit better commentary on it for you. As they're getting started here, one of the things that I just wanted to mention was I spent quite a bit of time watching some of the commentaries by some of the other top commentators, Diggity, Cholera, Moletrap. And one of the things I notice in all their commentaries is they're very, I don't know if they do this professionally or whatever, but they're very kind of caught up with all of the pro gaming scene, so the team-based stuff and the names and all of like the history of all the players, and which is awesome. Unfortunately, I'm well behind because I haven't been doing this for several years and so forth. So one of the things that I was thinking about was the fact that what you'll get out of my commentaries may be a little bit different. If you're super familiar with the pro gaming scene, then you may prefer their style of commentaries because they're able to throw around all the names of the various pro gaming teams and so forth. Whereas my knowledge basically comes from a little bit of research I do before each commentary. The advantage to that, though, is that I'm able to provide a lot of comments on these games that some of the lower level players may not be familiar with. So while they take certain strategies and maps and so forth for granted, these are new. Well, not new, but these are. I'll be talking a little bit more low level, so some more. It'll be more accessible to people, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So that's what I wanted to say before we get started here. Let's get into the game a little bit now. So we've got Bisu versus Flash. Again, this is game 1 of the set. So the first game they actually played, and the map is Destination here. And we've got Bisu on the top edge and Flash on the bottom edge. And for those of you that don't know Destination, it's a little bit like Python in a sense that it's got some wide ramp expansions on some plateaus that are a little bit more difficult to challenge. But it's also a little bit smaller as well. There's only 2 starting locations on the top and bottom. And one of the interesting things about this map is all of the expansion spots are right next to ramps or bottlenecks. And the reason I mention that, and the reason I think that's going to be important in this match, is because the natural expansion for both of these players right outside their base is only accessible on the ground via 2 ramps or bridges. And that's a big advantage for Terran on this map, I think, because Terran's able to set up siege tanks at their end of the bridges there, and pretty much with Protoss, which doesn't have any small units except for probes, I think. It's going to be really hard for Protoss to get ground forces across to the natural expansion of the Terran. And inversely, the Terran will be able to potentially offensively push Protoss's bridges to his expansion as well, and Protoss may have a harder time defending that. So let's see if that comes into play in this game at all. So what you'll notice is it looks like Bisu is going for the early expansion, so you'll see right out his natural when they click over there that there's 2 bridges right to his natural. Oh, embarrassed Korean chick. We already saw you. We already saw you. Anyways, so Flash at the bottom does not look like he's going for his early expansion yet, but Bisu chose to go for that. So if he's able to hold that expansion early on, he'll have the early economic advantage. It looks like Flash chose to wall in and go for the early factory, but now he's actually throwing up his second command center as well. So he will be taking a relatively early expansion. Looks like both players choosing to build up their economies rather than throwing offense at each other early game. So I think this puts Bisu in a good location because he is going to be harvesting more quickly, but I don't know who's going to have a better unit force early on. So we'll have to keep our eyes out for that. Right now, it looks like Flash is not researching his siege tech, so he may not have the gas. Whoa, more embarrassed people. So he may not have the gas. Looks like he is researching it now. Maybe mines. Let's see if he does any mine harass with his vultures and such. So back at Bisu, we did see him transfer some probes earlier at his natural expansion. So Bisu is going to be at a pretty good economic advantage, at least early on, until Flash gets his command center built and floated. Bisu is harvesting out of both bases right now. I don't think he has gas at his natural expansion, so he won't be producing gas-heavy units yet. He does send a zealot early well, relatively early, I guess, to kind of scout the ramp of Flash. What he's going to see is there's a tank up there, and he's not going to want to mess around with that, so he'll pull his zealot and 2 dragoons back. Looks like across the bridges. Meanwhile, Flash is now floating his command center to his natural expansion, so he's going to be catching up on economy pretty soon. And Bisu's going to need to be careful and stay ahead of Flash on the economy. If they're going to have equal bases, I think that Terran's going to have a huge advantage on this map due to all the choke points and ramps. So let's see if Bisu takes any more expansions early on to keep that economic advantage. He did go up that ramp and see that there was only like 1 tank and maybe a marine at the time, so he knows that Flash doesn't have a big offensive force. Bisu doing a smart play here and walling off one of those bridges at his natural expansion, so that's going to limit the amount of areas that the Terran forces can come across with vulture harasses and so forth. So I think that's a smart move with his pylons there. So Terran basically continuing to branch outward here, and it looks like Bisu is just kind of pumping goons out of 2 gates right now. And he does have a citadel going up, and it looks like a robotics facility there. So we're going to expect to see observers, and then probably moving right into zealot speed as well at the citadel. I don't know if he's going to go for temps right away but you do see the observatory going up right there, as well as the Templar archive. So I'm expecting probably DTs, and he throws up the Stargate as well. So he's going all 3 branches of tech simultaneously here, which is going to be interesting. So he's going to have an interesting blend of units. I'm guessing he's going to go Arbiters out of that star. Did I say starport? I meant Stargate. He's probably going to go Arbiters out of that Stargate. So you're going to see a blend of observers, arbiters, and then some melee forces, and then I'm guessing he'll probably do a few DTs as well to do sort of harassment or see if he can find any weak spots in Flash's defense. So he hasn't taken that second natural outside the southwest edge of his main there. That is again a bridge natural, so you have to go across a choke point in order to get there. I don't know if that's going to be the smartest base for him to take, given the fact that Terran has siege, and it looks like he might be pursuing the natural just to the right of his first natural. So there's a wide ramp he's going to have to defend if he wants to hold on to that base, if that is indeed where he's going to build. What we see now is Flash sending his vultures out, kind of to take note of what's going on early, and you see a star port there. So I didn't see a control tower, so I don't know if he's going to build raids right away, or if he's going to throw up that science facility so he has the early detection, well, relatively early detection as well. And it looks like Bisu is taking that second expansion, so Bisu trying to maintain that economic advantage. And you could see he had that arbiter, what is it called, tribunal? The arbiter tribunal up as well, so he is going arbiters out of that Stargate that he already has. And Flash looks like he's just kind of pushing out of his base here, probably going to try and expand over to the natural. It looks like he does have a command center to expand over to the other natural on the southeast edge there. So trying to keep up on resources and such. Bisu doing a good job of keeping some ground units moving around, so he'll see kind of that's what Flash has in mind there. But right now, it looks like financially they're in the same position. I didn't see, if Bisu had a large ground force or not there. It looks like he's got about six goons. I don't know where he's rallying his other goons, but Flash certainly has enough on the ground right now to eliminate 6 goons without a problem between those mines and those siege tanks. So right now, not a lot of offense happening. I haven't seen any DTs yet. I imagine we'll probably see some of those pretty quickly here. I would assume that's why that Templar Archives was built. So we'll see if. Oh, you have the face of a boy. Nice. We'll see if that's why that Templar Archives is built, to see if he can go harass with some of those DTs. He's going to have a big problem doing that because, as you saw, Flash did sort of a hard push out of his base with supply depots and turrets and mines and tanks. So it's DTs aren't getting through there anytime soon unless Bisu decides to build a shuttle. So strong defense by Flash right now. Bisu